And now we continue bringing you some of the biggest stories of the 90s with headlines from the 90s.
Jeffrey Dahmer is arrested. Over a 13-year period, this serial killer was responsible for at least 17 deaths. He would lure young women home for sex and would then drug them and kill them. He would then continue to have sex with the corpses and would sometimes dismember and eat his victims. He was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, but was killed 2 years into his sentence by a prison inmate. Robert Maxwell dies and is discovered to have been a con man. The British tabloid tycoon disappeared and turned up dead in the Atlantic Ocean. An investigation into his business turned up that he had stolen nearly $2 billion from the pension funds of his companies. He was also $4 billion in debt. Due to poor lending practices by major international banks, he was able to take out large loans without anything to back them up. Pablo Escobar turns himself into jail. The drug lord of Colombia surrendered in June of this year. Turns out he was allowed to build his own jail, complete with unsupervised visits. When they tried to crack down on this policy, Escobar fled into the jungles and was responsible for terrorizing the country, even blowing up a Colombian airliner at one point. He was killed, however, in 1993. Clarence Thomas sexual harassment hearings. Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas is accused by Anita Hill of sexual harassment when she worked for him 10 years earlier. He was appointed anyway, 52-48 by the Senate, despite having no real qualifications for the post. The Rodney King incident. A videotape of a black man, Rodney King, being beaten by 4 white police officers makes national headlines. It shows King being beaten and kicked without offering any resistance. Sad news from the royal family. Princess Diana and Prince Charles have officially split. It is announced from Buckingham Palace that, with regret, the Prince and Princess of Wales have decided to separate. They have no intention to divorce and will both continue to have an active role in their boys' lives. Mount Pinatubo volcano erupts. Volcanic eruption in the Philippines. Clark Air Base is evacuated and then abandoned, and the world weather patterns are affected. Reba McEntire's band members die in plane crash. Country singer Reba McEntire loses 8 of her band members in a fiery plane crash on March 16th of 1991. And finally, the World Wide Web is officially available. On August 6th of this year, Tim Berners-Lee releases files describing his idea for the World Wide Web. I doubt it'll ever catch on. And that's going to do it for the year of 1991. Join us next time when we bring you the major headlines of 1992 in Headlines from the 90s. And now back to the music on Smells Like 90s Rock.